Hi, everyone. We have author Trell Balladz here, also known as Trell Ratliff. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, I'm from a small town called Ruby, South Carolina, Chesterfield County, in South Carolina. Started out as a singer, ventured off in a few other things that end up becoming a author, which is my first book this year. I'm a business owner. I just opened up a store where I sell natural herbs, black seed oil, sour sop, sea moss, toothpaste, all natural products.
Okay.
I'm a father of three. Yeah, so
Nice, nice. And what
yeah.
inspired you to start writing?
I had to say, I started off doing poetry in school. I was doing poetry, and then I ended up singing, which R. Kelly took. I give a lot of credit for R. Kelly for making me turn my writing into music. Because I started out doing music, but the poetry and writing everybody love letters in school. I was writing the love letters for the guys to give to their girlfriend. So all of that, So I did all. I've been writing forever, and so just because my family, I have a singing background as well, it tied into it, and so
Okay. And how
yeah.
long have you been writing?
Uh, since about sixth grade, I remember my first song was I wrote in sixth grade, and it wasn't until maybe after high school that I decided I wanted to write a book,
Okay.
and I just finally put the book out this year. So yeah,
Okay. And did you experience any type of writer's block?
I can't like I said, I first started writing the book. I was 19 years old, and I knew I wanted to write a book of like somebody overcoming something, like a, entrepreneur. Like 'cause I was doing music, so when I first started writing the book, I wanted to write about myself
Okay.
and my relationship of having a woman support me while I was trying to do the music and stuff like that. But then, so my writer blocks took in those moments where I would stop writing and continue writing music. And then I remember I moved to Virginia in 2010, and I started writing again in 2010. And I put that down. Now I like to say that the writer blocks that I went through were more like, this ain't what you need to be writing. Like the concept, but it's like experience life more. And so from like 2010 to no 2005, because I came out of school in '04, I started trying to write it in '05 simply because I was looking at a record deal, right? And so I was trying to tie that into, I believe around that same time Eminem had dropped his movie 8 Mile and 50 and did,
Mhm.
so I wanted to write my own biography. I wanted to control my narrative.
Okay.
And so it wasn't until in Atlanta I ran into a lady from Africa, and she put out a book. And that's whenever I grabbed my phone and started writing my notes. So I have like 5 rough drafts of what If Their Walls Could Talk was going to be. And so this right here is the final draft.
Okay. Well,
And
congratulations. Are you self-published?
correct.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now
Now
tell us
I go
about your
through I
book.
go through for distribution. I go through Amazon, and then
Mhm.
of course, when I'm at vendors and inside my store, I have my book there, but self-published.
Okay. Now tell
But
us about your book.
all right, so If Their Walls Could Talk deals with a man who's basically he wants love,
Mm-hmm.
but then when he does find love, it's like, hey, how you doing? Bye. Because this woman that he meet may have somebody, a significant other already.
Okay.
And a lot of us men, when we do meet a woman, it's always she's taken, or she may be in a situation. But every now and then we'll be able to be and we'll meet that situation, and the woman says, hello, hi, come in. And so you move into her life, and you become something that she needs, but she has somebody that she already has to answer to. And so the whole story of like the song, remember the song Slacker Valley?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what If Their Walls Could Talk. It's basically giving another side of when they say all men are dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not a dog. Maybe I was just, with a woman that a man wasn't taking care of. I was taking care of somebody else's homework, and I was doing it better. You know what I mean? So, or not me, but the character was doing it better. And so he falls in love with not just one woman, multiple women, but he can't have none of them because they answer to, or they belong to someone else.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's a lot of sex going on in there, you know.
Okay. Show us the cover.
All right, so this is the cover. So if the walls could talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the title and the cover?
So the title came to me maybe 2009, 2010. The singer Pretty Willie. I don't know if he go by Willie Moore Jr. now. He's a inspirational minister now, Willie Moore Jr. But he had a song at one point called, well, he still does it. It's called Four Walls. And the hook was, if these four walls could conversate, they'd tell about the love that we make. So he was dealing, in the song he's having an affair with a woman. He has relationship, she has relationship, but they need each other. So I took that, and I took multiple situations, a married woman, somebody with another woman with children, someone that's dating. You know, I took four different relationships, four or five different women from different relationships, and put them with this one man, and just cause a bunch of commotion. You know what I mean? Just you know, because the mental, I deal with mental health issues in it as well, because it has you have to go through a lot just to be able to deal with one woman.
Right.
And so now he's strung out with 4 or 5 different women. Right. So, but yeah, that's where the title comes from. It's like behind these four walls, and then when I, you know, in the sexual part, it's like now you're inside her walls. So it's like if these walls could conversate, what would they say? You know what I mean?
And how did you come up with the names of your characters?
I literally, it wasn't until I started editing that I realized, like, damn, I got like nobody has the same name. Like, cause even the main character, I ended up naming him Maxton. At the beginning, I was naming him Romel because Romel that's my son's name. And then I realized, like, damn, I wrote Romel somewhere else, you know. So I was just jotting down. So I'm like, I scratched the name, ended up being Maxton. As far as the women, it's like I just made up names. So no name had like a significance to anybody. It was like, I believe that I don't know, that's something I went through as an author. I don't know if other authors go through the same thing. Like, damn, how am I keep up with somebody's name or create a name? You know, because even the names for my first drafts, I believe the woman that I have in the book named the lead woman, her name is Monica. But in 2004, her name was Verde. Verde just means green, and I gave her green eyes. The character had green eyes, so I named it Verde because Verde means green to somebody. But this time around, I just made up names and then had to keep up with who they were whenever I was editing. Yeah.
Now, are you going to do a part 2 to this book?
Right. So in the middle of writing part 1, I started writing part 2. And so now that I'm done with part 1, after I released it, I had people that read it online when it first came out. They were ready for part 2 already. I'm like, yeah, I'm already 3 chapters in. And then, like I said, COVID hit. And that took, I had to adjust to certain things and try to maintain my writing at the time. But I got 5 chapters. I'm about 5 to 6 chapters in on part 2. And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna twist it up in different ways because I want to have three books of it. So if the walls could talk, more walls, and then the last one will be Walls Fall Down. So okay. I have a trilogy with it.
Trilogy coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And who's your favorite character in the book?
My favorite character has to be the Monica lady. Well, it's either Monica or Kamara, because both of those are like Kamara is the character who is his first, and he's indebted to her because of, you know, that's his first, and he did her wrong, and so but she's still there. And then the Monica is who he grows with. Like he grows with her, although she's in her relationship and her situation. It's like if things could have been different, that's who he would have been with. But at the same time, he got to wonder, like, if it would have been different, could we even exist? Like, or is it just the thrill of it all that makes this perfect? I mean, so yeah. So. And
where can we purchase your book?
And so I'm on Amazon. If the Walls Could Talk. By Trell Balladz. That's TRELLBALLADZ. And then, of course, Cash App, $TRELLBZ. And when you cash app me, it's $14 plus shipping and handling is $3, so it's $17 when you cash app me.
And what do you hope readers take away from reading this book?
So men are taking the sex part and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this right here now.
Of course.
But the women, they're like, oh, they picked up on the spiritual aspects of it, where I put music in, like suggestions of music and stuff like that. So they picked up on that. They picked up on the mental health, and they picked up on the growth of the lead character, Max. They picked up on that. Men picking up on the sex part, the women picking up on the actual part that I want to put out, which is the mental health. Like we all deal with certain things. None of us really want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're sitting at home alone, you start thinking about past relationships and how you can fix those. And then when you do find love, how you cut those other ties off and commit yourself to one person? Like, cause that's a struggle. And I always tell people, I feel like whenever we in a relationship, at the end of a relationship, say for instance, me and my ex, we break up. We still may have a sexual energy that we still answer to each other, but then you meet somebody else. So how do you just sit and say, hey, I can no longer be with you sexually because we've been doing this? I'm like, the transitioning from a relationship to the next relationship. So it's like, that's basically what I'm dealing with. Like, how does this one man go from being the yes man and the boy toy for 4, 5, 6 other different women that he's revealing, fulfilling their desires and their needs and their desire to be loved. How do you transition? Like, what kind of mental, it takes a toll on us. And so yeah. I even create a therapist in the book to talk, you know what I mean? So. Okay.
Yeah, I think men have a harder time getting rid of the exes. Women, we don't have a problem with it.
Hell.
Men like to hold on to things.
Yeah, I was on a podcast last night and I mentioned the same thing. Like, we're territorial. I'm like, it's like we have to always claim that. Mm-hmm. I was asked, like, do I think that a man do I think that if an ex leaves you for somebody else, can you take him back? I'm like, I will, because I always want to feel like that's mine, that's home. So like, I don't think it is. I said, you coming back home. Like, like me, I'm like, I leave off, go to Atlanta, leave off, go to Virginia, but I come back to South Carolina. So it's like, that's part of life. You know what I mean? So yeah, but all thing women got to do, basically, they just sage the little lifestyle up, save the pussy, and just burn incense at wedding. They good,
right?
Yeah, us it's like, oh, she doing better than me. She doing better than me now, So then we pop up with that DM like, hey, glad we become toxic like Future. Yeah.
Okay, so now describe your writing space.
My ideal writing space is I want to go to the mountains. I want to go somewhere and like just, like a Jagged Edge video, put like a big ass coat on and light up a fireplace and sit back and, have me a glass of wine or some coffee, But in this, I'm like, that's what I want to do. And that's why I feel like I'm gonna have to do going into the finish off part 2. Okay. But with part 1, I could be at work at a time and I'll sit there and write a whole chapter in my head. Cause like I said, I know what I want to write, but then I'll run off into the restroom, grab my phone, put it in my notes. I can be driving on the car, because I had to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. It'd be 6 o'clock in the morning. I was texting and driving into my phone, which is unsafe. I don't recommend anybody that's listening to this to do that. But that's what I did. So it's anywhere, because when I was in church as a child, I was writing my music in church. And then when I recorded it, I remember my mother saying, I ain't finna hear that no more. I'm like, my nastiest song I wrote it in church. So it's like, wherever it comes to me, I have to put it down. Like, so, and that's pretty much how I've been writing my whole life. I can write anywhere, you know what I mean? So.
Okay, now tell us your social media handles.
Instagram is TRELLBZ. That's Trell BZ. Snapchat, same. Twitter is the same. As far as Facebook, my fan page and my artist page is TRELLBALLADZ. That's Trell Balladz. My personal page, Don Trell BZ Ratliff. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And how do you think being a writer has helped you personally?
Because I had to be in everybody's face again to tell them my book, I stutter a lot and I cuss a lot because if I cuss, I don't stutter. And so it's not that I'm nervous or nothing like that. I like to cuss. And if I don't cuss, I stutter. But with me having to present my book professionally, I had to it helped my people skills. And it also helped me with being able to sit inside my store now when customers come in and talk to them without cussing unless I actually know you. So it helped my communication skills a little more.
Okay.
So and then I've been asked a few times. I've had women come to me for they think I'm some kind of love doctor, some kind of therapist, So I've been answering questions and stuff like that. But like I tell them, like that's just my experience and how I would see stuff. Like, because we learn lessons by other people's fuck ups. Like we sit there, we can watch movies and see how somebody should have handled something. So you create that scenario and you put that into your book how you should have dealt with it, or you put that into your life how you should have dealt with it. Because we can sit there and judge everybody else character, and we can be doing the same thing but don't notice it. So so it's helping me be able to describe certain things when people ask me. So I won't have to say, man, I don't know. It's like I got an idea,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you a reader as well, or do you just write?
I grew up as a heavy reader. The last book I read before I wrote mine was by a friend of mine in Atlanta, Dawn West. She had her I believe she done did like 3 books since I finished mine. But her first book was Confessions of a it was Sex Diary, Confessions of something. I can't remember what it was. But that was the last book I read before I finished mine. I didn't want to continue reading other books until I finished mine, because I didn't want their books, interceding or going into mine. So, but yeah, I grew up on the Zane, and my favorite book was Maintenance Man. That was by Michael Baldwin. Not damn, I said Michael Baldwin. Yeah, Michael.
Yes.
Michael Bays, and that was my favorite book. And I'm like, and so that had the Maxton character has a little bit of that, like I'm here to fix this. You know what I mean? The Splacker Valley, the the Maintenance Man, just the guy that basically comes in and fix everything the woman needs. But this time it's like, okay, I got problems too. I got issues too. I ain't a player, I ain't a dog. It's like, hey, I want to be in love, but every woman I'm saying hello to, they're taken. So only thing they can say is bye. But if they mess around and say, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Boom. Now we got a conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's what my book tackles.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your book?
That is me on the cover. And no, the lady that I'm holding is not my girlfriend. I get asked that a lot, But yeah, I'm like, I dedicated my book to my father, which is he wanted to be a writer as well. He's a singer, and so I like to say, my father is a writer that loved to sing. Now I was a singer that loved to write. You know what I mean? So then I did, and then a brother named Mark Sparks. He's the one that started me off my music, and even R. Kelly, who taught me how to fly. You know what I mean? So I deal with a lot of that. So that's what my book was dedicated to. But it's dear to me, and I hope everybody picks up on me. Like, and far as the men, I hope men learn they take something from it. Because there's, even with my interlude, the beginning, there's a story there where there's an older woman in an older relationship where an older man is mistreating his wife after 20, 30 years, and then she turns to a younger guy. So it's like, it's one of them things like, I just want people to pick up on Black love and relationships, how, we got to fix that part.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.